because to me, relationship is the teamwork, it's team effort. Like we do this together, right? So a lot of times when you date very independent women, it's always I. But for me, it's like it's whenever you come in a relationship, it's no longer I no more. It's we. It's how we're gonna do this together. A lot of times, what I realize, especially with modern women, I'm not saying all, but there's a lot of modern women out there. It's all about their independence. They're more focused on their individual, what they want individually. But I'm trying to focus on what we can build together as a couple. And that can be a very hard. That can be really, really hard to build a relationship with that type of woman if they care so much, or they've been independent for so long, or they care a lot about their independence that they're unwilling to give that up in order to make a relationship work.
I don't think you need to. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, it seems like these independent women are being clumped up into one thing, though, that are being portrayed maybe as something that they're not, or maybe what you might be experiencing is an avoidant attachment style, like someone who doesn't want to give up their independence because they are really fearful of abandonment. Also, like you're kind of like agreeing with us, really, because you're saying, like, I want to be with a partner that wants to be reciprocal. And the women that you've met who are independent or whatever, like, I consider myself a very strong, independent, confident, smart, college educated, driven woman. And in a relationship, I'm very needy. You know, like I'm nurturing, and I want to be around my partner, and I want to create that together. So I just don't know that. I just feel like maybe I'm reading this wrong, Will, but I feel like there's such a harsh, like, line of, like, all modern day, maybe not all, but modern day women and independence and blah, 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 blah. And you can't have both, but, like, maybe a different guy can, and you can't.
No. The one thing I have realized when you date very independent women, right? It's one, they've either been hurt before in the past. So what happens is, if they've been hurt from the men, they were hurt out of one of the men in the previous life, so they're so afraid to be dependent on a man because the last man they depended on hurt them. Or secondly, they're very masculine. So, you know, they're very masculine women, so they don't know how to be feminine. So the good thing you said, Leanna, which I love what you said, you know, you're very independent, which is great. I don't have any problems with being independent, but I'm masculine as a man. So as a masculine man, I'm always craving femininity from a woman. You're nurturing, loving, and vulnerability. So sometimes when I date these very independent women who, you know, sometimes they're very career-oriented, very ambitious, they have very masculine traits. I don't get that feminine energy from them. And for me, it's really, really hard as a masculine man to connect with a woman that's masculine, because I'm looking for femininity from a woman. So a lot of times these women don't know how to switch that role. So I don't go be ambitious and be successful at work, but when you come home to a man, especially when a man that's very masculine men are looking for a feminine woman. And if you don't know how to make that switch like you are, you're able to make that switch and come home and be nurturing, caring for your partner. A lot of modern women can't do that, and that's why a lot of them are they're very successful in their personal life, but then they suffer in their personal life, especially when it comes to relationships, because they just don't understand that men, the type of men they look for, they're very ambitious, confident, and masculine men. Majority of those men are always going to be looking for the femininity of a woman. So go ahead.
What is your definition of a feminine woman?
No, femininity, like masculinity, feminine women, nurturing, caring, loving, your natural biological nature as a woman, feminine.
I feel like even if a woman is career oriented, they still have femininity behind them. Like, I feel like they're still caring and nurturing in a relationship. I don't think that takes away from it. So, like, what else is a feminine woman?
No. Every woman has their feminine side, but what happens is when they're very career oriented, you have to adopt masculine traits. Like you have to adopt the masculine traits where it becomes their primary trait. It's not the trait that they put off out there. So they're more like you've met some women that are very men, like they have a very masculine energy.
But what is a masculine energy? Someone that's assertive and doesn't put up with shit.
Yeah, assertive.
I think that's a great quality for a woman to have.
No,
you just want a pushover.
No, it's not a pushover.
That's what femininity back in the day, the wives back in the day, I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but they literally did not have any voice. And so women are now getting control of their own voices and they're speaking up. And I think men are like, what the hell is this? Because they're used to women just being quiet and shutting up and just doing whatever they're told because they didn't have their own freedom. So now that we do, we can speak up for ourselves.
Well, and I was going to say something about that too, is
Right.
like, I've never had to like sort of, you know, state emphatically to someone in dating or whatever that like, hey, like I'm independent and I make my own decisions. But that's like my own male privilege, right? That's because the world has never told me, and partners who I'm dating have never expected me to be like obedient and like just have this automatic assumption that if like we're going to if one person is going to sacrifice in their professional life for the other person's professional success, like that's always assumed to be the woman. Right. And so that's the history. When I see women sort of saying these things and like being emphatic about their independence, you know, to me, it's sort of similar to like when people like, you know, it's like when some people react to hearing Black Lives Matter by saying like, well, all lives matter, which is kind of bullshit, right? Because you're like, no, there's a historical context here to that, you know?